People have often asked me how did it feel about being the first African-American at Disney. I was another artist looking for a job.
But Floyd made it possible for others to say, well, if he can do it, I can do it.
Hi guys, and welcome to a special art lesson with me, Mrs. Portilla. So February is Black History Month. So today our project is going to be recognizing Floyd Norman. He was the first ever African-American to be hired at Disney Animation Studios in 1956. So that was a pretty big deal back then. He has worked on a lot of movies, Disney movies that I bet you've watched, like Sleeping Beauty, The Jungle Book, The Sword and the Stone, and something we're going to be doing today, Pixar and Disney's Monsters, Inc. So today we're going to be doing a directed draw of Mike Wazowski. And for the more advanced students, we're going to be doing a storyboard layout, just like Floyd Norman did for Disney. So we're going to go ahead and get our supplies, our white paper and a pencil, and we're going to get started. Now we have our paper and our pencil and our scissors. We're going to set aside our black paper, and I'm going to take my white paper. I'm going to fold it in half, get a nice crease, and now I'm going to cut it. So let's go ahead and set aside one and take hold of our paper. So I'm gonna go ahead and do my directed draw. On the screen, after you watch me, I will show these simple steps, so that will be helpful to you. So the first thing we're gonna do is we're going to draw a pretty big circle. So I'm not using a template. I'm just lightly, look, I'm doing it lots of times, really lightly, until I get a nice circle that's the size that I like. So you see how I didn't push too hard? I just went a couple of times in a circle. Once you have your circle, we're gonna go ahead and draw a little very light line down the middle of our circle. And not right in the middle, a little bit towards the top. We're going to draw that T. What that is doing is that's giving us a placement for his eye. Once I have my T, I'm going to draw a big circle. So as you can see, I have a big circle for his body, and then I have a big circle going right over the middle of my T for an eye. Now he needs a head. So Mike Wazowski has a tall head. He's not just circular. So what I'm gonna do is I'm just gonna add a little hill on the top of my circle. So watch this. Just a little hill. So if you can see, that's my circle. I just added a little hill to give him a bigger head. Once we have our circle body, our circle eye on the top of his head, we're going to draw concentric circles. That means a circle within a circle. So here's his eyeball circle. We're going to draw a medium-sized circle, and then I'm going to draw a small circle that I'm going to color black. And now you can see this is starting to look like an eyeball. Scary. So right on the side of his body, right about where his eye kind of ends right here, kind of in the middle of his body, I'm going to draw a line for his arm, and I'm going to draw another line because he has two arms. Once we have our two arms, we're going to draw two legs, and instead of just drawing a straight line for the leg, I'm going to do a little bit of a line at a diagonal, and then I'm going to go straight. So it kind of looks like his knee is bent. Now he needs some feet, but we're not going to get detailed on feet. So he gets big ovals for feet. So an oval is a smushed circle, right? So I'm going to do a big smushed oval for his foot. And then I'm going to do another big smushed oval for his foot. And he's going to get oval hands. So the next thing he needs is a mouth. His mouth is below his eye. So for his mouth, we're going to do a rounded triangle. So here, instead of a pointy triangle, I'm just going to round the top of my triangle. Or you can make a rounded bottom, like that. The next thing we're going to do is we're going to add extra lines to his arms and his legs. So I'm just going to do a parallel line right underneath his arm. This just gives his arm a little bit of weight to it now. I'm just following the same line. His leg, I'm just drawing a line and I'm stopping at his round body and down. Now I'm going to go over my circle a little bit darker. Detail time. Okay, so right above his eye, I'm going to follow the curve above his eye, and then I'm going to follow this top curve here. So I'm kind of making a crescent moon shape above his eye. Then I'm going to draw a nice little eyelid. I'm just following the shape of his eye. I'm also going to follow the shape of his eye, like a little happy face, right underneath his eye. The next thing he needs is a bottom lip. And the way we're going to do that is I'm just going to do the same thing. I'm going to follow my line underneath his lip. He's a monster, so you know he needs teeth. Teeth are just triangles because he's a monster. They're pointy. So I'm going to do 1, 2, 3 teeth and just a half little circle for a tongue. Now we are going to give him horns. Horns are little curved triangles, almost like cat ears, on the side of his head. Little curved triangles. Everything's shapes. So I'm going to show you with his hand. I'm just going to go over that curve and I'm going to come in. So it's almost like a banana for a hand. Banana hands. I'm going to go around and in for a hand. And for a finger, I'm just going to add a line. So this is just a really simple, not very defined hand. And for his feet, I'm going to draw a straight line for the bottom of his foot. So I'm going from his leg out. Then I'm going to start from the top of his leg, and I'm going to draw a diagonal line going up, and then I'm going to draw it down. And I'm going to do that same line again. Diagonally up, down, one more. Now I'm going to end his toes in a triangle shape. I'm going to add a little claw there. So on his other foot, I'm going to go up, down, do that shape again, up, down. And then I'm going to end his toes in claws, which are triangles. Now for our more advanced students, we're going to be doing 2 pictures and then we're going to add some scenery behind it, just like a storyboard. So we have our one Mike Wazowski where he looks kind of surprised. Now we're going to grab our second piece of paper and just like we started the last Mike Wazowski, we are going to do a circle. So I'm going to lightly hold my pencil real light and I'm going to do a couple circle shapes until I kind of get the size and circle that I want. Remember, Mike Wazowski is not completely round, so we're going to add a hill to his head. Remember, you could watch first and then you can go back step by step. I'll have a step-by-step slide, or you can follow along with me. We're going to draw a little T, very light. This is a sketch. And you want the middle of the T above the center of the circle. This is where his eye is going to be. We're going to draw a medium-sized circle. See how I have space between the top of his head? Then we're going to draw our concentric circles for his eye. So we're going to draw a smaller circle and an even smaller circle that I'm going to color black. This Mike Wazowski is smiling. So we're going to follow the curve of his eye, but I'm going to make sure the smile extends past his eye. And we're just going to make a happy face, which looks like a crescent moon. And to give it a little more depth, I'm going to give him a little curve here, which is like a cheek. Remember, he's a monster, so he has teeth. Triangle teeth. 1, 2, 3, 4. And I'll do 3 teeth at the bottom. Going to give him 2 lines right above his eye, following the shape of his eye. 1 bigger, 1 smaller. And then I'm going to do 1 underneath his eye. That's just kind of giving him an eyelid. Remember that he has horns, kind of where cat ears would go. Horns are triangle shapes with a curve at the top, right? Then he has arms. These arms are going to be in a different spot because we're going to do a storyboard. So right about where his mouth is, kind of in the center of the circle, I'm going to do a stick arm. I'm going to do a diagonal line up, and he gets a circle for a hand this time. His other arm's going to do the same thing, just going down. And that hand gets an oval. He's going to have some stick legs. Again, I like to do a diagonal line and then a straight line. So it kind of looks like he has knees. And then he gets flat oval feet. So the first thing we need is we need to add these second line to make his arm look thicker. So I'm just gonna follow my current line, but I'm leaving a little bit of space so it makes it look like he has an arm, not just a stick. Okay, so let's do this bottom hand since we already are familiar with how to do that. Remember, this is like a banana. I'm gonna do a curve, come back around and curve, and then I'm just gonna add a line for his finger. So monsters sometimes only have 4 fingers instead of 5 fingers, so we're gonna give him 4 fingers. So fingers are just gonna be kind of a long oval shape. We're not gonna get super detailed. They could even be triangles since he's a monster. So I'm gonna do 1, 2, 3, 4, and then I'm gonna come back down. And look, they're not perfect. It just looks like a hand. This is a storyboard. Just has to represent the picture. Now we're going to add another leg line. Give his leg some meat. I'm just following the line. Now for his foot, I'm gonna do a straight line. And then up here, I'm gonna do a diagonally up line and draw down. Up, point down, up, point down. And then I could adjust this line. Triangles for claws. So on this foot, the same thing. I'm gonna go up, draw down. Great job. At this point, you should have 2 Mike Wazowskis that are outlined with black pencil, or even a regular black pen is fine. So you could glue these 2 onto your black paper, or you could keep going with me and we're gonna add a background. So the background is gonna be our storyboard. So with this example for a storyboard, I have Mike Wazowski and he's surprised. Maybe he sees someone. And then you see in the next scene that he crossed the street and he's waving to someone. So you could do that. I'll have this on the next slide as well. But I think for my sample, I kind of like the idea that maybe it's raining. So we're going to draw with our pencil. And I'm going to draw a line that represents, let's say, a sidewalk or a street. And then I want to draw like some clouds are maybe coming in. On a sidewalk. So for my other guy, he's going to be standing in the same street, sidewalk, but now the rain clouds have taken over and it has started to rain. So go ahead and decide what you want for your background and then do a simple sketch for a background. Then you could go over it with your black pencil lightly. And you'll glue it onto your black paper and then you have your Disney storyboard, just like Floyd Norman.